Happy screen time and thank you for subscribing for daily tips and rotomfoolery about Pokemon Sleep. Today we have a special episode as we're going to be looking at how prepared I actually am for the old gold power plant. But as it is Strategy Saturday, I won't leave you hanging on our analysis of the week behind us. How has our sleep style discovery event been working out? Absolutely great. Our main reason for coming here was to get Dratini, Dragonair, Dragonite sleep styles that we were missing in hopes of getting candies. And although we haven't gotten all of those sleep styles, we have gotten plenty of those candies. So I am not disappointed at all. And in total so far this week we have gotten 5 new sleep styles, which means that new sleep styles is creeping up on new subscribers. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please help subscribers win this week's contest. Now, typically I'd spend a little bit more time analyzing this strategy for the past week, but today, because we're going to be doing a lot of analysis, and this will be a longer video, I am just going to jump right in to taking you through the steps of how I am assessing my Pokemon and figuring out what I'm going to do to be most successful at the new area, Old Gold Power Plant. The main differentiators in an area are the berries that are Snorlax's favorite, as well as how long it actually takes Snorlax's belly to get bigger. So generally speaking, we only care about the berry Pokemon when it comes to berry production. But if we do have ingredient Pokemon or skill Pokemon with berry finding S, they are worth consideration. And today we'll do a quick Pokemon showcase as well for this beast. This is Bounjour, which is named after this episode of Bluey is called Pavlova. Double Mushroom, Helping Speed M, Ingredient Finder M, Inventory, Ingredient Finding Up Nature. If there was ever a long-term investment, this is the guy. Next, we're interested in Archibald for his berry finding, but I'm not holding my breath because he is an ingredient finding focused Pokemon. Next is the Ampharos that we invested in for the Raikou event, also BFS and a good nature. We will have to see how it stacks up, but its good skills don't come to level 75 and 100. And speaking of the Raikou event, hi Raikou, everyone knows about you already. Watson is an Eevee that I turned into a Jolteon also for the Raikou event. I am interested in this because of berry finding. And here's a berry finder that doesn't know how to find berries, so X-Potter probably won't make the cut. Then we have the only other Raikou we caught during the event, which also has berry finding S, but has one of the worst natures a Raikou can have. This is a shiny Gengar, Swipe. And I like this Dedenne because it's neutral with a level 2 skill, which is better than neutral with a level 1. Eventually is going to be crazy good at level 100, but is the brave nature worth a short-term investment? Speaking of short-term investment, how about Riley with BFS at level 50 and the adamant nature? This is probably a good combination. Nothing special about this Magnemite that we caught. It just happens to be the only one we've got. Okay, so this Mareep is interesting. It's got a 2 gold seed discount with a skill trigger and berry finding S. The nature isn't complementary, but those subskills are certainly interesting for a favorite berry island. This Ghastly will also be worth checking out because it has berry finding S at level 50, along with the brave nature, not to mention that Gengar is already wicked fast anyway. This is the best Shuppet I've caught to date. It's not that special, but we're going to see how it stacks up against some of these other Pokemon. Maybe we'll try to catch another Shuppet. Now this is an objectively great triple herb Ghastly, but probably not for this island. An ingredient finding Magnemite that is not a good skill specialist will also be swiped on. And Peach Yogurt, who we caught yesterday. Here's one that we'll really want to evaluate against our other potential Pikachus. And last but not least, a long-term investment Ampharos with 2 skill triggers, main skill up nature, and helping speed Mareep. So we are going to now take these Pokemon over to RaenonX. We're going to duplicate them, evolve them, simulate seeding them, and find out who our best options at level 50 will be. Really what I'm doing at this point is kind of taking a mental image of this, because I now want to go and look at level 75 and level 100 and see which Pokemon are still on the list so that I can understand who are our best long-term investments and what would I potentially be giving up in the very long term in order to get gains at this level 50. So as we jump this up to level 75, it seems pretty clear that our Raichus are the main considerations. As you can see, Peach Yogurt is at the top of the list, followed by Eventually and Riley. Now that BFS Gengar seems to be hanging with them, but let's jump over and look at the strength to see kind of a tier list of these Pokemon. And we see that realistically, all of these Raichus perform about the same at level 75. And we can also see that they are way outclassing the Ampharos and Jolteon no matter how much we invest in them. So we know that those Pokemon are probably not super long-term options for Old Gold Power Plant. Really, this is a Raichu analysis video. Now, once again, at level 100, Watson has re-entered the chat, and that's because it's going to kick in with helping bonus at level 100 if we're ever coming back to the Old Gold Power Plant when we are at that high level. I am taking note that Watson will be worth its weight in gold in the long run, just not anything super special in the next couple weeks. It's even going to surpass Riley, who is the second best Raichu here, and who could doubt that eventually, with that berry finding and helping bonus in play, will be our best level 100 option. As you can see, Ampharos is not even on the list anymore. It would require more gold seeds for sure to be competitive up here, but I also think it's interesting that even eventually as a Pikachu is going to win out in several of these scenarios. So next we're going to drop back down to level 50 and make some assessments who is worth that level of 50 investment for us right now. And this is where the analysis starts to get a little simpler. If we're going to invest in an Ampharos, it should be the discount one. If we're going to invest in a Gengar, that BFS one. But we're going to have to look at the relative strength of these Raichus. Now at level 50, eventually is not even on the list, so it's not really worth the investment. But Riley and Peach Yogurt come out to be about the same, at least if we were going to put them on a tier list. Next, we'll turn our attention to Jolteon. I can already see that with a 2-seed investment or a 1-seed investment for increasing that main skill, that there is barely any strength gained. Not to mention that Jolteon's skill is primarily at its best when it's making other high-level berry Pokemon produce extra helps. So it doesn't seem to be worth the main skill seed investment unless we had a team of all other level 50s with matching berry types. So my next question is it worth the silver seed to make it trigger its skill more often? But even with that one silver seed investment, Jolteon is still just not even as strong overall as using Archibald the Skeledirge, who is great at finding apples and just happens to find 2 berries all the time. So I'm not worried about an immediate investment on this Jolteon, but maybe when we have a lot of strong Pokemon on Old Gold Power Plant, we might make that investment. So now that we have a good sense of who would be worth investing in, I'd like to now turn to who can I invest in? And the main answer is probably only Pikachu. We could evolve Riley and get it up to level 46. We could evolve eventually and have it be level 42. Pichu needs more candies to become a Raichu, and because of its experience down nature, can only get up to level 40. If we wanted to get discount Mareep to an Ampharos, we could only bring it to level 20, which is not enough for an Ampharos anyway. So realistically, Farron is the only one we could invest in right now. Dumping all of our EV candies into Watson would get us to level 40. We could evolve Shuppet and have Bennett at level 28. And we don't have enough candies to make that Ghastly a Gengar. So now we jump back into RaenonX, and we configure each of those Pokemon to the level that we could invest them to. As you can see, we have a very different list to work with now, and the first thing that we notice is that Peach Yogurt evolved even at level 40 is beating out Riley evolved at level 46. But that's because berry finding has not kicked in yet for Riley, and level 46 is really not that far away from 50, especially if we started sleeping with Riley on our team. So let's just assume in the next couple weeks we can get Riley to 50, and we will configure this to reflect that. And another reason that this is so important to analyze right now is because if we are going to use Peach Yogurt, we need to get 50 sleep hours with Pichu before we can evolve it to Raichu. So it's going to take us a little extra time to get that Raichu up and running anyway. So now that we've set Riley to level 50, we can see that it greatly exceeds Peach Yogurt. And for those who weren't paying close enough attention, Peach Yogurt actually gets ingredient finding at level 50. So we only want that to get to level 49 anyway. And at that point, it is still not going to be beating out Riley. So let's look at the Ampharos situation now. Realistically, I don't feel like investing 2 seeds is the way to go here. They are going to be barely better than just running our Typhlosion. And running Farron today, dumping all of our candies into it, would just be the same as Typhlosion. We're going to rely on Golduck for that extra skill strength boost, not any of these Ampharoses in the short term. And we already determined that it wasn't going to be worth it to invest in Jolteon really, but you could see that we're better off just running our BFS helping bonus Victory Bell or our Walrein named Bob Vance. Basically, investing in these other electric Pokemon just doesn't really move the needle. It's kind of a bummer that we don't have the Gengar candies to bring that BFS one up the list, but Bounjour for mushrooms is so killer anyway that I have no regrets. The last thing I'd like to look at here is Archibald the Skeledirge, who we could drop some candies in to bring him up a little higher, but we would need to make a significant investment getting him up to level 50 in order for him to contribute berry strength to our team. Which will bring us back to the main game, where we will set up our team. The current final roster will be Hanabi the Golduck, who we saw at the top of all of those charts, Riley as our best short-term plus somewhat long-term Raichu option. We'll just save up those candies for eventually. Then, although it doesn't match Berry, my next best Pokemon to put on the team is my best healer, which is Wigglybard. There is no point in running Golduck, who has energy down in its nature, without making sure that it gets some healing during the day. And I've added Watson and Air Fryer to our reserves. Now, Air Fryer is primarily there because he has helping bonus, which strengthens Wigglybard, Riley, and Hanabi, while also producing a pretty good amount. But ultimately, these last two Pokemon are not going to be a main focus here. Realistically, Watson and Air Fryer will only be rotated in when we have enough ingredients for our next few meals. Otherwise, we're going to be switching in the ingredient specialists who will be helping us make those meals. I will be putting Riley on our overnight sleep team in order to start hacking away at those extra levels to get it to level 50, but I am not going to drop candies on Riley, and I'm talking the 900 candies, until Riley is ready to get in the game. Because leading up to going to Old Gold Power Plant, there's still time to go hunt one more Pichu or Pikachu, and if we can find an epic one before then, we are going to have no regrets about that. Now, realistically, we are not going to find one, but my main goal for next week is going to be to head to Greengrass Isle to get as many Dream Shards as I can, while also hunting Pokemon that could replace the ones that are currently in that configuration. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go to the new area as soon as it's opened, or if I'm going to wait to go on Sunday, because my main reason to go in the first week is just for the area bonus. We have the whole next 2 weeks to hunt for those new Pokemon. And until we know how many Dream Shards we need for the upcoming pod expansions, I don't want to put over 100,000 into Riley until we've assessed that pod expansion situation. The size of the pot is not just about making bigger meals, it also means you're gaining iteratively more experience to level up your meals. But we will save that discussion for another time. Hopefully you've learned something so far today, while we now look at what came to camp. Session 425, will we get new spawns today? I went to bed a little bit late last night trying to get some ginger. Maybe you'll see a short about it later because I did film my frustration. Banned with dozing sleep style and 134 million drowsy power. Oh, and a rare 2 4-star sleep appearance. So we're gonna get a Ditto. We'll see what we get in addition to a Ditto. So sleep styles we already have, Dodrio on top of that Belle, and we also see Sprigatito, Dragonair, Ekans, Dratini, and Swablu. We've got more Dratini candy. This has been a super great week. Wonder what else we'll see too. Now, is that Dragonite gonna give me some Dragonite candy? Of course it's not, because it's a Ditto. We just got one of what is considered the funnest Ditto sleep styles in the game. It doesn't even show up on this list unless I scroll down to it, even though we heard the sound effect of it getting added. And it sure does not disappoint. Oh, look at him. And we've got a Florigato. And it's the prettiest Florigato of them all. Did you guys see that shine? If you see a shine, we're gonna make you mine. But 2 more sleep styles is not too shabby. This means we have 7 new sleep styles on the week, which I think actually means we're going to exceed my estimate of getting 7 or 8. Because we still have a couple days of this event left. And we know we got one hungry today. You shine, I'll shine, my dear Florigato. You only need 1 Poke Biscuit, because you're guaranteed to mega hit. And you shine, please shine. Alright, and that's all we need today, 1 Pokemon to evaluate. But where can we drop that bonus biscuit? We can drop it on the Ditto, of course. Sorry, the premium bonus biscuit, because it's so fancy. Which will mean one day we can premium bonus biscuit Ditto again, or if it's hungry, give it the old 1-2 with Poke Biscuits. So it can come home later, but this means that the Ditto I currently have, if he's the team leader, could show up as Dragonite Sleep now, so that's pretty fun to have. And do we send out a shiny Floragato to our friends? Do we brag to them? No, shiny Floragato is for the subscribers. Friends get to see the Dragonite. Just kidding, that's for the subscribers too. But in all seriousness, Dratini candies are the best thing I could give out to anybody. And this is my longest video yet, so we gotta wrap this up, meaning we floor gotta go. But not before we check out our Flora friend, who is in full bloom today. Could this be a viable shiny? Well, if it is, it's gonna have milk for days. Neutral, 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 good, neutral, neutral. So basically it's just pretty. And funnily enough, we already have another pretty kitty. And if I recall correctly, it's actually better than this one. Let's go check it out real quick. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions as I rush through my general strategy for preparing my team, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments and I can address them in the future. The benefit of doing daily videos is that I can address things relatively quickly with you. Oh yeah, same ingredients but with helping bonus and a couple other beneficial things. Let's do this again sometime. Happy researching.